Yes, welcome, karibuni sana. Welcome to, of course, another wonderful Wednesday right here. And you know, on Wednesday, just speaking off of last week, we had an amazing show. We touched a little bit about how to, you know, manage your finances. And remember last week also we brought up the issue of cryptocurrency. Today we have a lovely guest here who will allow to introduce himself as we delve into that and what they're doing and Mara is doing in Kenya and globally. Welcome.
Thank you, man.
Yes, I'll start by introducing yourself.
My name is Chi Nadi. I'm the CEO, co-founder of Mara, which is a cryptocurrency exchange that is new to sub-Saharan Africa, specifically built to feed the needs of sub-Saharan Africa. It's crypto financial needs.
Right. So before we jump into Mara, just tell us just a little bit about yourself, a little background. How did you get into, you know, cryptocurrency?
Oh, man. Okay. So I like to say I backed into crypto.
Okay.
I really got interested in the core, like underlying blockchain technology.
Right.
I'm originally from Nigeria, specifically a part of Nigeria, the Niger Delta, which is has a history of environmental degradation, and money supposed to go to these villages.
Right.
And I'm talking about hundreds of millions of dollars disappear to build hospitals, to build roads. And I was kind of obsessed with that idea, and I wanted to solve that idea because my family was from there.
Right.
And I just, you know, and so I was spending a lot of time in the Niger Delta and spending a lot of time in LA.
Right.
And my friends in LA, this is 2014, are into crypto and they're into Bitcoin.
Right. And this is 2014.
This is 2014.
Okay.
This is 2014.
Right.
And someone pulled me aside and said, this technology will find its use cases when it goes to places where trust is expensive, or maybe there's like high levels of lack of transparency.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so I immediately understood the core technology underlying Bitcoin, and I realized it was a way of getting the villager, the chief, the governor, the executive shell, all at the same table, because physically they won't all sit at the same table.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah.
But they can all sit in the same smart contract, and their money can transfer. That way, that money actually gets to that community in the last mile.
Right.
So we actually were using smart contracts to make sure that ex-militants who are normally terrorizing their communities, we taught them to start cleaning up the oil spills, and then they got paid in crypto.
Oh, wow.
And we were able to track the project that is taking place and pay them as the project is taking place, and even get the community involved, because like local women farmers would come by, take a picture, and then they would get paid as well, to confirm that the fish pond that everybody was using would actually be clean and they could all use it.
Right.
You can use the same thing for building hospitals, building roads, to actually make sure a lot of these public works. So I got into blockchain technology for the core technology, and that's why I'm really excited for Mara, because crypto's more than just Bitcoin. Crypto is that 25-year-old who has an idea of a project that can solve a problem in their community. Let's say they want to give you the ability to hold your own data, and take your data to wherever you want to go, right? And so now you have, let's say you have a deed to your house, and you can hold on to it. So it's no longer paper. So we jump from paper ownership to digital ownership. And that's some 25-year-old Kenyan right now who has that idea.
Yeah, because like there's a lot of boom. Even if you look at social media, everybody's always posting some of the graphs, and everybody's monitoring when it drops, when it rises, and all of that. But for, like you say, that 25-year-old Kenyan, or a youth in Kenya right now who is trying to get into blockchain technology, because the craze obviously is still everybody's Bitcoin and all, but of course there's more. But then what are some of the opportunities that it presents to a youth in Kenya?
Well, so that's one of the things that Mara is really focusing on, is taking these real-life problems, presenting them as hackathons, and saying, okay, so we have this problem. The Maasai families need to make sure that they get their money from conservation, that it goes directly to them. Let's have a hackathon. Let's get a bunch of different solutions, and we'll have some judges. And then, you know, the best constructed solution gets turned into a pilot, maybe even scaled, and then turned into an actual service. And that's the beauty of blockchain technology, is one, to be able to build new structures in society, and actually build new structures in society, and then bring equitable distribution of capital. So that 25-year-old doesn't have to live in Nairobi. That 25-year-old, all they need is a phone. they could live in Jetty, right? They could live in Congo and still be solving the problem in Kenya. And then they're able to then launch the project on the Mara exchange, raise capital from people all over the world, which is a more equitable distribution of capital. They don't have to move all the way to Nairobi, or maybe even move all the way to, San Francisco or something like that to be able to start the project.
Right. So let's jump more into Mara as well. So what is it doing in Kenya? Of course, also in Nigeria and Congo. You mentioned Congo as well, but specifically also for Kenya. But just a general overview of it and some of the products that people can interact with.
So in July we launched with a brokerage app that allows the crypto curious, that person who is thinking, what is Bitcoin, what is Ethereum, to explore, learn about it, gain some education, and purchase it. And then soon after, we'll be launching a pro app, which is for the more savvy trader who wants to use candlesticks and that sort of thing, and be able to do technical analysis. And then we'll be launching our own chain later, and that will allow for young Kenyans who have projects that they want to build to actually be incubated, discovered by Mara, incubated, supported, and then they can launch their projects on the chain, reach consumers all over Kenya, all over sub-Saharan Africa, and also receive capital from folks all over the world as well. And we see Mara as really a foundation, as an enabler of blockchain technology for sub-Saharan Africa. Because blockchain technology is popularized in places like LA, San Francisco, Hong Kong, but the real use cases, the reason for it is actually here on the continent. And that's what I've been excited about since 2014. Sitting there in LA, I was like, wait a second, this technology is actually for Africa. This is a foundational technology that will help Africa leapfrog into this century. And with Mara, we're able to bring that to sub-Saharan Africa.
So basically, I know for most people the question is, will we be able to make money?
Exactly.
And how? Because when you talk about cryptocurrency, and like I said, of course, you also mentioned the craze is Bitcoin. People posting, oh, I made this much today. Oh, I made this much today. So maybe you can explain to us how it all works.
Well, it's interesting. 40% of people globally between the ages of 18 and 35 want to use cryptocurrency or are interested in investing in it. It's really the stocks for the youth. When we talk about, let's say, the Kenyan who has an idea for digital ownership, that person is going to create a DApp, which is called a distributed application. They'll release tokens onto our exchange, which will allow them to raise money from people all over the world. But then the same folks who might be also using that DApp are also going to buy that token. And so what we believe in Mara is, so there's this book, just to sidetrack, there's a book called Homo Deus by Yuval Noah Harari. He wrote Sapiens. I read it in 2016. And he said when technologies come to the world, it's usually the poorest countries in the world that get it the last. And I read that in 2016. I immediately thought of blockchain technology, and I said, there's no way Africans are going to be left behind for a technology that's actually built for them. So you who's using Mara will see a DApp on the Mara chain that you'll be able to invest in early on, that you'll actually use. You'll actually understand the utility for it. And that's the beauty of having a legalized, centralized exchange that's authentically African. You're building the African crypto economy, and we're all investing in it together, rather than all this innovation happening in other countries, especially here where those dApps those products that are built are actually solving real solutions that we understand. And so it creates a more inclusive crypto economy that's the key to a foundation for Africa for this century.
And so what does Mara intend to do, like in Kenya?
So the idea actually came when I moved to Kenya. I moved to Kenya January last year, and I was just amazed at how Kenya was basically cashless with M-Pesa, mobile money. And in many ways, crypto is, in crypto we say layer 1, layer 2. Crypto is the next layer on top of internet penetration. And Kenya has some of the highest internet penetration in the world. Right, so Kenyans are actually more in tuned or ready to jump into the global crypto economy because they're already digital savvy. So it not only means Kenyans being able to buy crypto and invest in it, but also Kenyans being able to build and help actually, create their own lives. Like if you're a young guy, you might want to invest in a project that your friend's doing.
Right.
And creating that wealth, bringing that wealth from all over the globe into Kenya.
Right.
And so that's one of the reasons we chose to launch it here.
And of course, we have a very vibrant, like you said, but yet not so many people are using some of these financial services, right? So how would Mara and how would blockchain and kind of onboard these people and kind of bridge that gap? Because the big thing, like you said, is access.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's access, and it seems like the barriers to entry are really high, especially for Africans, and we're seeking to come and solve that and present the solution for that. And that is through education. That is through, one thing I love about our culture is that, like, if we have large, families and extended families, and if your brother finds out about something, he tells you, you tell your mom, it gets on our WhatsApp groups, and now everybody knows about it, And so we are going to be launching ambassador programs for college students all over Kenya, because when you're 18 to 24 years old, that's when you're the most curious, and the most crypto users in Africa are 17 to 23 years old. And so we'll be launching an ambassador program for folks to learn about crypto and then be able to then teach others about crypto. And that way we democratize also the education of crypto, because from the 19-year-old who's in college all the way to our leaders of our countries, everyone needs to be educated about this new world that's being created. Yeah,
and just also away from Kenya slightly, tell us what you're doing in Congo, though, because that's...
I was just mentioning Congo as an example.
Yeah, no, but yeah.
What I mean is that Mara is really being built for sub-Saharan Africa.
Yeah.
I just use Congo as
an example. So if you're looking at Africa and Kenya, people... Like you said, most of this stuff is happening in LA. You mentioned Hong Kong, and all these other places is huge. And people are actually making money, changing their lives, and young people at that. So for a Kenyan who's watching and they're wondering, is this viable? Is this something that I can actually do? And then that's one. Number two, where can they get some of the information?
Come tomorrow.
That's right. So,
that's the beauty about blockchain technology, because a lot of times when you have a new enabling technology, like let's say AI, for example, you're going to have to do a lot of study into data science. You have to learn Python. There's a lot of education and technical barriers. The beauty of blockchain technology is you have your phone. The information is on the internet through YouTube. We have trusted exchanges like Mara that you can learn more about crypto. You can learn how the different protocols work. And from that, just using that one device, you'll be able to build that feature. Now, let's say, for example, you're not an engineer and you want to create a piece of art, like an NFT, be able to sell it globally. That's just you and your phone maybe taking a picture of something that you see in the streets of Kenya, but that sparks something creatively for people globally, and you're able to then turn that into a digital asset, monetize it, and then continue to earn from it.
So if somebody would, let's say, walk us through, so I get Mara, right? So how does it look like? What does the platform look like? What are the places I can go, let's say, to learn, to trade, and all that?
Yeah, so you'll be able to learn, through friends, through our ambassador program that are in colleges. This is going to be someone that that you're already close to, who's been to our events and learned a little bit more about crypto, and is able to teach you about the difference between Bitcoin and Ethereum. And then when you're utilizing our retail app, you'll be able to go in and see the different cryptos, what crypto assets, whether it's Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin. And there'll be opportunities to learn there in the app as well about the different assets, and then purchase them. And as you learn and gain more information about it, in the same way there's Bitcoin,
right?
There's going to be a digital asset that some kid in Kilimani creates.
Right.
Right? And that's the beauty of Mara, is that we're actually bringing both of those worlds together by creating a purely African crypto exchange, crypto platform.
So Kenya is also trying to, it's on the verge, it's trying to create its own digital currency as well. So how does that kind of merge with Mara's work?
Well, we think it's absolutely great that the Kenyan the CBK has put so much intellectual rigor in embracing the design and thinking of how they would apply central bank digital currency. We're part of the public participatory program. We've responded to the central bank, and we think it's great because it really would actually open up blockchain technology for the financial industry, and it would also give a lot of guidance to banks, to financial intermediaries as to how they'll utilize the technology. So it's absolutely great that the Kenyan CBK is not only forward-thinking, but has also put a lot of intellectual rigor into it. So
now, as you say, this in the public participatory stage, what can other youth do? Like, is there what role can they play in terms of also, pushing the government to onboard some of these services?
Well, this is the reason why we started Mara now.
Right.
Because what I noticed last year was that while there's widespread adoption with the youth, but the elders were starting to listen. They were starting to acknowledge crypto. And, having been in the space in 2014, having been talking to African leaders since then about crypto, I mean, you can imagine what the conversation looked like in 2014.
Right.
Right?
It's like, what is this?
It's like, this guy is from the moon. Yeah. But now elders are embracing and acknowledging the technology. Different countries are approaching regulation. And so I think that in due time, as it's a natural progression, that the governments will start to understand how they want to apply the technology, and we're there to help educate them, to help contribute to that process. So that's actually one of the reasons I did this. Just realizing that most of our elders are, in their 60s and 50s and 65 and 70s. And most of the youth are like 25 years old.
Right.
And I'm kind of sitting in that place in the middle where I understand the rampant, widespread adoption of crypto, but then you also sit across from your elders and you realize, man, your world has changed a lot in the last 20 years. So you understand their pain points, you understand the fears that they might have around the technology, and you're able to sort of guide them into that process and show how it creates a lot of utility for society.
So again, like I'm just thinking of my Twitter feed and somebody's asking, so how do I make money?
You log on to Mara,
right?
You learn about different crypto assets, and in the same way you will...
What are some of them, the assets?
There's Bitcoin,
okay,
which is the core foundational asset. Okay. There's Ethereum, and when you go to mara.xyz, which is our website, you'll be able to learn more about this, access the app, see more of these digital assets. Like, I'll give you an example. Many people are seeing Bitcoin as a store of value.
Right.
So it's a new digital gold. And if this is being embraced by the millennial and Zoomer generation worldwide, you don't want Kenyans to be left behind.
Right.
Yeah. And so that's what's taking place right now, the ability to go to mara.xyz, go to our exchange, and be able to access it as an African, because before, there were a lot of barriers for you to even being able to access these digital assets.
What do you think is the future of cryptocurrency? Let's fast forward. Is 10, 5? 5 years. 5, all right, 5 years from now, and people now have an understanding of it. Countries are, some countries are already, making it part of making bills and making it into law. What do you think is the future?
I think the future is a lot closer than we realize. And the future could be you having your own crypto identity on the blockchain that, let's say, holds your patient records. and then you go to one hospital, and you then let them access your patient records. But then you're traveling to the Congo, for example, right? And something happens to you there, and you have to go to the hospital. And through your phone, you have your patient records right there, and they're able to access it. So we've changed the structure of how information is flowing and given you digital ownership. And that crypto identity that you built, that you're using, was built by a 24-year-old Kenyan who did it during a Mara hackathon, and now you're seeing updates that the Kenyan government is using it, the Congolese government is using it, the Nigerian government is using it, and by the way, you bought that token when it was just an idea early on, so now you're economically benefiting from this problem being solved for all of Africa.
Right.
And that's what the future looks like for crypto in Africa.
Now, talking about different African countries, right? So we have, of course, Kenya, you said, is in the process. Then you have the Central African Republic that is actually legalized or possibly legalizing Bitcoin. So for a country like the Central African Republic, what kind of opportunities present itself for a country that has actually said, you know what, this is now legal, let's work with this, and now have partnered with Mara? What are the kind of the opportunities that will set them apart from other countries that haven't done that?
Well, you know, the truth of the matter is they brought us in because they were looking to work with an African exchange built by Africans, because we intrinsically understand our own society and our own issues. And so they brought us in to advise them on what it would take for them to adopt cryptocurrency. Now, Central African Republic is not Kenya. I think Kenyan internet penetration is like 85%. It's high, like some of the highest in the world.
Right.
The internet penetration is 11% there. Oof. And so that's one of the things we've advised them on, is if you're going to be able to bring the crypto economy to your population of 5 million people, you're going to need widespread internet access. And so we advised them to enter into a multi-step, multi-year process to prepare the country to enter the crypto economy. And so that is internet access.
Right.
That's also IDs, widespread. I mean, you know, it's a great life here in Kenya. You don't have to worry about a lot of these things, but like widespread national IDs, making sure, because if you're entering into blockchain, you know, there needs to be strong KYC AML practices. And there hasn't been a regulated centralized exchange in Africa to come and protect consumers and actually bring global practices in KYC AML. So before CAR can even enter the crypto economy, they need to make sure all of their citizens have IDs. And these are the core things you need to even enter the crypto economy. And then from that, like any other African country, you know, the world is theirs as far as being able to access the crypto economy and access the resources that are available globally.
And so, of course, then, if that is 11, this is 80. And
85%.
Yeah, and we probably... Yeah, like, well, truth is we're kind of slightly advanced, right? So if that same situation would happen here in Kenya, what would be like the possibilities and opportunities, and how beneficial would that be?
Well, I think it's a lot of the things that we've discussed and we've articulated, is that you open up the technology to arm the youth to solve problems in society, and and the technology opens you up to capital globally. So now, let's say if you have a problem that you're solving, it doesn't have to be patient records. It could be tracking a supply chain, for example. Because let's say you work in agriculture and farming roses, for example, right? But then you come up with this idea, and rather than you going through the old route of trying to get someone in Nairobi or someone in London to be interested, so you don't have to do that anymore. This new foundation technology allows you to access everybody in the world, while also through Mara, a centralized exchange, access also not only everyone in the world, but your own potential consumers. So by embracing blockchain technology, you actually embrace the next revolution in digital finance.
Right.
And so it's a process, but we believe that Sub-Saharan Africa is going to get there, and when it does, it's a renaissance for the entire continent.
Right. Also in crypto, we have different people coming through and say launching their coins, so to speak. Maybe for in terms of crypto 101, what does that mean? Or blockchain 101, what does that mean?
Right. So when you create a distributed app,
okay,
you create tokens to be able to power your app to secure the data that your app is using on a blockchain. Right. That's instead of you're securing it on a blockchain instead of securing it in a cloud. And what's the cloud? The cloud is really a server that's somewhere underneath the sea. Right. That it actually, if you think about it, it's a single point of attack. You could, if you just take out that server, your whole
it's a wrap.
Right. But by using blockchain technology, you create an immutable string of information, so that information can never be tampered with. So that allows you to create a coin or token to bootstrap the project, but then the coin or token would actually be used within your project. For example, you have the base ones like Ethereum, right? If you're going to build a dApp on Ethereum, to be able to secure your information on Ethereum, you need to actually use little bits of Ethereum. So that's why you actually buy Ethereum, because you actually need to use it to power the dApp. So if you think about it as a project that you've created, that's utilizing a token, the people that are using your dApp will need to use the token, and they'll know that other people need to use it as well. So that's why they would also purchase it early, because they know this is going to be fantastic, other people are going to use it, and it's going to be really valuable to be part of this network.
Right. So the other thing, of course, again, back to blockchain 101. So if you, when you purchase it in probably what? Dollars. Can you you transfer it to dollars and then of course to Kenyan shillings? Like, how do you do that?
So you're talking about how do you move from currencies?
Currency to currency, yeah.
Currencies to currencies, you're exchanging them on the Mara exchange. You can go from, and so the important thing to realize is that shillings, pounds, dollars, Bitcoin, they're all just currencies, right? And we're moving to a place where you'll be able to seamlessly move through all of them. Now, Bitcoin is a little bit different from Ethereum and all the other tokens, because Bitcoin is primarily just to secure. Now I'm really getting into the weeds, but secure the Bitcoin blockchain. Whereas Ethereum is more of a virtual machine to allow you to run code and create blockchain dApps as well. Bitcoin is starting to get there as well, but now I'm kind of getting into weeds, and I don't want to get us too lost in that. That's why folks need to go to mara.xyz and actually be able to educate themselves. Now, the important thing I want to also say is that the rabbit hole that you need to go down for crypto, it's not as deep as you might think it is. Within 3 months, you'll be able to be conversant and understand the differences between the core digital assets and be able to make make good decisions as to which ones you want to hold, because you believe in Ethereum, you believe the Solana blockchain, you believe in the Mara chain, the Mara token.
Right, so on the Mara suite, we have the Mara wallet, Pro Exchange, and the Mara chain. Right, maybe you can walk us through those.
So a wallet is the ability to move from your currency into other digital assets. That's just being able, and it's really for the crypto curious. It's a very friendly, user accessible way of getting into crypto. You don't have to know the price of Ethereum from November 2021. You're just interested in holding some. And then when you go into the Pro app, it's really if you're wanting to do some intense financial analysis and think about cryptos as more of as an investment manager and such. And you're more of a professional using technical analysis and the like. And the chain, as we mentioned, ends up being an underlying core technology for African engineers to build their projects on, and African consumers to be able to access crypto dApps that are built within their ecosystem. And that's what I mentioned, us holding hackathons and the like, is to stimulate this crypto economy that's there. There's so many young people that have ideas, they want to solve these problems, and I don't know if I'm sure you've heard this before, people have ideas, but they don't have access to capital. They don't have resources. And that's what we do at Mara by bringing the Mara chain, so folks can actually build on an African blockchain and get the projects out to the rest of the world.
Right, so if people want to get information about all of this, right? Where can they find you, since you moved here, or also where can they get all this information?
Go to www.mara.xyz to learn more about Mara. We'll be launching our app, the full app in July. We'll be starting our pre-launch over the next week, which will be your ability to download the app, share the information with friends, verify yourself, and get to the front of the line, because there is a long waiting list to access the Mara app. Get to the front of the line, so in July, August, when the retail app is out, you'll be at the front of the line, you'll be able to access the global crypto economy.
I can't leave without asking you, one of the things in any digital conversation is security. So how is that being enhanced and safeguarded with blockchain technology, Mara, and all?
Security is absolutely paramount to Mara. It's one of the things that from the beginning we've invested heavily in. And so that's not only securing digital assets, but also securing our website as well from attacks as well. And that's the benefit of working with a regulated exchange, is that you know that your crypto assets, the provider has actually been regulated by a government. When we launch, we'll be launching with a crypto license actually from the UK, and we'll continue to get licenses in markets that we work with. And eventually, when African countries have VASP license, we'll start to get VASP licenses there. That way the consumers are protected.
And also there's a lot of people who complain about, scams and all this, but like you said, you have to be somebody who's regulated. So are there some things that the youth can look out for, whenever, so that they know that, this is legit?
Oh wow, well, definitely any project that's launched on the Mara chain that comes through our incubation program, because in stimulating the crypto economy, in rolling out these hackathons, we're seeking to find the best projects and really support them and incubate them, and do it in a public way. So if there's, partner with governmental organizations that might be wanting to solve that problem. Partner with NGOs that might be wanting to solve that problem. So you watch that project be gestated in public, and you watch it be piloted. And so that way okay, they're not going anywhere.
Right.
And so those are markers and indication you can look for, projects that are being sponsored and launched on the Mara chain that are incubated through our process.
Right, and final question. So 2014 till now, of course, there's several. Everybody has their own.
You're not going to ask me how much Bitcoin I have.
No. Well, no. Okay, no. All right. So there's several. What are some of the craziest myths you've heard around cryptocurrency?
You mean beyond nobody knowing who Satoshi Nakamoto is? Or like, who is Satoshi Nakamoto?
Right, it might be me.
It could be.
It could be me.
I mean, there is some Peter Thiel, you were on that, and there was a beach apparently in 2001 when Satoshi was there. In Mexico, maybe you were there. But what are the craziest stories? I think one of the beauty, it's probably people not knowing who Satoshi Nakamoto is. And it's, the Bitcoin white paper came out, I believe, the week after the crash in the U.S. I think it was 2008 or 2009. We're like, right while the financial crisis was happening, and the peak of that. And we're able to look at the initial transactions on the blockchain, and we're able to narrow it down to maybe 5 or 6 people. But no one knows who Satoshi Nakamoto is. And that was probably done on purpose. Because in many ways, it's a gift to the world.
Exactly.
And then it allows people to not think about it as a product of the CEO, and something that everyone owns and everyone uses. And there is something poetic about that, where whoever it is, might not even be a person, might even be a group of people,
right.
But it allows you to embrace it without any biases as to where it's coming from, which is great for the world.
What's best kept secret?
Exactly. Exactly. I mean, we have Bitcoin logos behind us, and I'm sure when that paper was written, I think they thought the world would eventually get here, but I don't think we thought the world would eventually. The world is changing underneath us, and we want to make sure that Africa doesn't get left behind. Because if you think about it, the majority of or a large swath of the young population in the world is African. We're the future.
Right.
So we need to embrace these future foundational technologies.
All right, well, I would like to say thank you so much for making time for us and explaining this, and we look forward to July and
July, August.
All right, July, August for the launch.
Yeah.
Is there a place they can follow you on social media, or should they just follow Mara?
Yeah, there's Mara.xyz. Right. All of our socials are there.
Right there. Okay.
I do have Twitter @CheeseSaid, and then you can follow our different social media links for Mara into the Maraverse on Instagram, Telegram, Twitter, and the like.
All right. Well, all the best in that, and we will continue to watch and, most importantly, to learn.
To learn, yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, all right. So thank you so much. Well, we want to end it right there. We've been talking about cryptocurrency. We hope you learned something. Now, it might get technical, so this is the advice. This is going to be uploaded to YouTube, so in case you want to go back and watch it again, just so that you understand, you can whip out your notebook. In case you just tuned in right now, just go ahead and listen to the conversation and get into it. Go get the information. They say information is power. Get information. Don't just be talking about it in several social places, but actually sit down and take time and learn what the future what the present and what the future looks like in terms of cryptocurrency. That's the only way that you can make it. Now, what she hasn't told you is that he's a Chelsea fan. But it's okay. We love him regardless. But successful people look like you and the great Manchester United.